You could put blame on Bischoff. You could put blame on Hogan. You probably could put some blame on Kevin Nash. You could put some blame on Vince Russo. The amount of pay-per-views he doesn't appear on in the NWO run is like unbelievable. It's Roman-esque. Those first couple early years of AEW, I was watching, and I'm going, this is better than what is being presented that I have to talk about today. Very quickly here, as it was posted on this day in WWE on social media, OTD_in_WWE. Today, 30 years ago, Hulk Hogan signed with WCW. And he had the parade at Disney and all that stuff. And a lot of people thought that would be, and Bischoff said, I got to go get him. And they got him. But you have to remember, and there is a little of this in current day, Hulk was a WWF guy. WCW/NWA had Rick. Obviously, a little more based in the South. Hogan was the sports entertainer. Sure, they went right to him. Rick helped bring him in, and then Hulk beat him. And then Hulk was the guy. And they, remember this, Hogan in 94. He's there. They throw him with Savage, all that stuff. Dungeon of Doom, it's not hot, all that. By 95, he's getting booed. By 95, he's saying, observe this, brother, and ripping stuff. Like, it wasn't working. And they handed him everything. Here you go, Hulk. Whatever the hell you want to do. And he did whatever the hell he wanted to do. He was wearing black with red before the NWO. They took him off TV for a few months. And then obviously he was the third man. Hulk had to turn heel. Okay. And you could say, listen, the end of the WWF run was going that way anyway. In 93, it should have been Brett's show. Hogan wouldn't do business. So they went with Yoko and the exploding camera, and then Hulk was gone. Like, I guess did those European tours, and that was it. He was gone. Thunder in Paradise just happened to be shooting nearby. Tom noting, Hogan's WCW contract, some of the funniest things to read. It cannot be understated they gave him everything. Everything. They gave him the UPC codes on things that weren't even his because he got them. He could do whatever he wanted. Go back. I didn't remember this clearly. The amount of pay-per-views he doesn't appear on in the NWO run is like unbelievable. It's Roman-esque. It very much is Roman-esque. But he had that creative control. Poll we're going to put up here, was Hulk Hogan signing with WCW the beginning of the end? And it's an interesting question because you're going to go, well, they got hot because of the NWO. Yeah. And they were out of business 6 years later. Shit, his first year and a half wasn't good. He needed to go heel. I happen to think, personally, the beginning of the end really is the Sting match at Starrcade. They just didn't book it correctly. A story that is told last week on Who Killed WCW. I will talk. We'll talk more about that show in upcoming weeks. But that booking was, I mean, it was. It's funny how Bischoff's like, oh, yeah, I found out you could do long-term storytelling. No shit, dude. I think Hogan and what happened on that show was the beginning of the end. There isn't one answer to this. You could put blame on Bischoff. You could put blame on Hogan. You probably could put some blame on Kevin Nash. You could put some blame on Vince Russo. You could put blame on the various executives that mess with things. It's not just one thing, and they're going to tell that story. Shit, you could blame Vince. Vince saw what they were doing and turned it all the way up. Kevin Nash has said, at some point we had to start dealing with standards and practices. I talked to Tommy Blotcha yesterday on Busted Open, Mark Henry, who was writing right after Russo left. And he was like, we could pretty much do whatever the hell we wanted. And I said, was that to a detriment? Was that helpful? He goes, well, it was good because we basically had carte blanche, but it also was tough because you had to keep turning it up. WWE was allowed to keep doing that. WCW ran into, they had a glass ceiling of standards and practices at some point. And they couldn't keep up anymore. Nash told the story in his podcast last week of Kevin Sullivan saying, you feel the tide? Whatever the hell he said. He used some kind of very specific terminology or phrase when Tyson showed up. I think Conan was on there saying, we used to watch Raw because it was cooler. I've been in that before. I have felt that before. Those first couple early years of AEW, I was watching, and I'm going, this is better than what is being presented that I have to talk about today. There it is. Thank you, Rob. The water was getting chilly. That's what Kevin Sullivan, I'm not going to do a Kevin Sullivan voice. The water was getting chilly. That's what he said, and Nash knew it. There it is. You feel the water getting cold. They knew. Shit, Kevin Sullivan had been up and down. He saw everything. It's weird when you watch the competition do something better than you, and you know it. I went through that in the first couple of years of AEW when I was watching them put on a more intriguing product, an interesting product. I think they handled the pandemic better at times. It's a weird thing to feel. It's different now versus then. I say this all the time. I said it when I was there. There is room for two major wrestling companies to make a shit ton of money in this day and age. There is plenty of room for AEW to get a new TV contract, not draw the ratings that WWE gets on Mondays and Fridays, still be wildly successful, while WWE continues to make more money than they ever had before. There's plenty of room for both of those things. During the Monday Night Wars, there wasn't. That's just how everybody operated. WCW tried to do too much. They spent too much money. They let the inmates run the asylum. I think that's a big part of it. And WWE, look where they were in the New Generation era. Look, some of those buildings are running raw. It's rough. The stories of those memos going out to Titan Towers. Well, you can't use the phone or you're going to have to pay for long-distance calls, and we're taking this out, and there goes the copier machine. And they were cutting corners anywhere they could. But I do believe that now, I think AEW needs to tighten a lot of things up. Absolutely they do. I think they need better infrastructure. I think they need some more infrastructure in general. I know there's a lot of people work their ass off there because I talk to them, and I know they do. But they need more help in that place. Not on screen, not in the ring. They got plenty of talent. I know a decent amount of people there are stretched very thin, or they don't know what they're doing. That's correctable. That is correctable. They're going to get paid well on this TV deal. I just think that money needs to be invested back into things in the company that aren't about wrestlers in the ring. They have plenty of those. More than enough of those. They're nowhere near WCW. If they were at WCW, they wouldn't be on their way to a new TV deal. So we'll see what the next episode brings. But, Hogan was certainly a shift in how WCW handled things. And they did pivot when he wasn't working out. And I think they got 2 good years of the NWO, and then that was it. They felt way more week to week. It didn't feel like they had a big plan. it didn't feel like the captain was steering the ship. It felt like the Pirates had taken over the ship. Will Mars. Connie needs to delegate more. He seems like he's... Yeah, I don't think you're wrong about that. You can also have a lot of too many people in their ear. You know what I like to see? I want to see a week of AEW television where nobody from The Office is wrestling or appearing on screen. That shit happens all the time. People who are on-screen characters and also have some kind of office or position in the company, they don't miss too many shows. I do think that's an issue for the company. I think they have to maybe fix some priorities there. However, Jeff Jarrett could be on TV every week because he's still great. I will say that. Hey, this is Matt Camp. Thanks for checking out one of our recent clips from the Wrestling Mat. Why is someone so close to The Rock kind of throwing Cody over the bus?
Yeah, a lot of people won't engage with Jim Cornette. I did just because I have a mark for Jim Cornette.
Please subscribe right now. Hit the like and turn on notifications so you don't miss a thing. And I think you should listen to your TV partners. Let me tell you about WWE and a little insight. More subscribers means more content. And make sure you follow us on social media at WrestlingMat23 on both Twitter and Instagram.